joining us. Thank you for allowing us to come into your home.
You're welcome, I think.
And freely allowing us to bombard you with our opinions. So you've sent us some pictures, so we've already seen. You've got you did a gut and a redo, and you did it all on your own. So anything that we're going to say or offer is just, hey, here's little bits of things that we think you can inject to elevate it a bit. Okay, you ready to go in? Let me share.
Oh, I thought you were going to do a share impression. I got confused.
Share! I'm going to share my screen. Alrighty, here we are. We're in the kitchen first. I love your beer pong cups.
All the fixins.
Was it an old lady that lived here before?
Yes.
Before you? That you bought it from, correct?
Well, yeah, it was. She was the last one left. She basically raised her family in this house. But yeah, she was kind of the last survivor. Original owners of the house, built in 1948.
All right, so here's one of the afters of your kitchen. Looks great.
Love the apron sink. Very cool.
Yeah.
Love those stainless apron sink.
Like the tile. Got a great pop. Now, you said you got the kitchen from IKEA, but I'm assuming like those at least the lower doors are not IKEA, are they?
Lower doors I got from a company called Allstyle Retrofit, and they kind of do nicer options for finishes, but they, have all the holes drilled in the right places to fit with all the IKEA kitchen systems. So,
like, you still buy the IKEA boxes, right?
Yeah, all the boxes are IKEA. All the upper cabinets are their doors, and all the wood grain kind of walnut. That's all the custom stuff. But yeah, half the cost of what an actual custom job would probably cost. So yeah, that I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the black and the white with the walnut, because the walnut adds warmth to the black and the white.
Actually, one thing I wanted to ask you guys to see if you noticed. So when they cut all these pieces for me, I had originally given them a plan where things were configured a bit differently. And I didn't realize they basically cut it out of one piece so that when everything's in place, all the grain adds up. Mine doesn't do that because I switch things around at the last minute. Do you think that's a big deal?
Well, I was looking at that, but I thought it did, so I didn't really notice it. It does look like it.
Some of them do. I guess, you know what? It's more on the other side of the kitchen island. I noticed that, in the kitchen, things kind of matched up, and I'm like, oh yeah, I moved these two things around and I put that there. I mean, it doesn't bother me. I wonder if that, if people come into my house, and is that something that people check for when it comes to wood grain? Or
they don't always have to match, but if you can, it's nice to do that. But what happens is they either have to all match or none of them match, right? Because if only one doesn't match, then you're like, fuck, I can totally, that's going to stand right out to you. But I don't think that looks like this. I mean, from the picture anyway, it doesn't stand out to me like, oh, how come all of those match, but that guy doesn't?
I think what would have been a bad thing if you had, it was all kind of one color, and then there was one door that was particularly lighter or darker than all the rest. Then that would have looked funny. But they all look uniform. They're all the same type of patterning. So. Okay,
so one thing I'm going to start with is I would say you need to get a lot of this stuff off your counter.
I think it's just the fact that you have such limited amount of space.
Well, you caught me on a day when I was drying a bunch of dishes from cooking a big meal. So.
Oh, look, I can see you. Good thing you weren't naked taking this picture. You're right there in the fridge.
I don't usually walk around the house naked, but I'll have to be careful in front of my fridge from now on.
Or not. So yeah, I mean, I have limited space as well. Can you use your dishwasher as your drying rack? That's just something, that's what I do anyway. Like wash my dishes by hand and they dry in the dishwasher.
I kind of do both. I wash like my plates and my cups and my cutlery. So my dishwasher's either constantly got dirty dishes or clean dishes in it. The dish rack I reserve for, again, when I'm cooking and like have big pots and pans and bowls.
Another thing you could do, put your dish soap, put it in a nice pretty container that doesn't say palm olive on it, so you don't, you can, obviously you're going to know it's dish soap because that's what would be there. But if you put it, they have the automatic dispensers. That's what I have. So you don't even have to pick it up. You just hold the sponge underneath while you're washing dishes and it automatically dispenses it out for you. And it just looks nicer.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has to have things out. So, if you can just put them in containers that look a little prettier.
Yeah, it'll just, that little bit of elevation. Is this cabinet made to be customized to be the size of this Meg fridge? Because they're pretty skinny, no?
It's pretty skinny. They're all IKEA cabinets. I mean, with IKEA, you kind of get what you get. I lucked out that they had a cabinet that was just like there's like half a centimeter on each side. It just fit in perfectly. And one of the reasons I decided to spend the money on the Smeg, because you know they're a little more expensive than your conventional appliances, but I was gonna need a skinny fridge either way. And as far as skinny fridges go, it was the tallest, so I felt like it would have the most capacity.
But
Yeah.
I'm lucky I'm one person.
yeah, we've heard that about these Smeg fridges, that they're not for families.
No, or at least not this model.
See, here's something else. You put this in a container somewhere.
Yeah, I kind of hate seeing that there, but because it would go in that little cabinet it's sitting in front of. But in order to reach that, I have to get my step stool out.
But it's also a pain in the ass if it's something that you use every day. Yeah, to have it put away in some cabinet, it's a pain in the butt to have to, and then you end up just not doing it anymore because you're like, ugh, I don't feel like going and getting it, and then pulling it out, and then putting it on the counter. So if you have it out, but in a nice container, and maybe even here on this island instead of all this stuff. Right, and then there's some vitamins or something. Viagra.
It's Viagra, scented candles.
They're on the kitchen.
Always
counter.
ready.
You never know who's coming by. Okay, now talk to us about this. I really like this. This is very cool.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I love that thing too. I wanted something to go at the end of the island just to kind of counteract that post on the other side. Again, because initially when I was planning this whole thing out, that post wasn't supposed to be there. The wall was going to come down and everything was going to be happy and my house wasn't going to fall down. But the engineer said, no, if you want to do that, you've got to do a bunch of stuff to your foundation, which would have cost crazy amounts of money. So
yep,
I had to live with that post. And I mean, it looked okay without that piece, but I just kind of like the way it just kind of anchors it on either side.
Yeah.
It makes
it's a nice buffer from your front door. It almost gives you a entryway again.
And and it was just a little thing I designed again with that retro vibe in mind. After it was built and put up, I kind of looked at it and realized that that's kind of what every single wall in this house looks like that when the drywall's off.
Yeah, the framing. Maybe you, because you've been looking at it for so long, you subconsciously just.
Well, that's what I'm thinking happened, right? So I don't know.
This is the living room, right? This is the front window and the old lady curtains.
So at least the old lady curtains went to the floor.
Yeah, so that was definitely my first thing that stood out to me. This is like my history before I did all this I was a manufacturer of all this stuff. That's what our company did for many, 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 many years. Was sewing curtains and pillows and blinds and fabrics, and I was the fabric guy. I was a sewing guy on a bunch of TV shows. So
I saw you. Sorry, I interrupt you. I saw you this week on what's it called? Lover to List It, Vancouver.
No,
not Vancouver.
No, probably Vacation House Rules. Scott McGilvery.
Scott's Vacation House Rules.
One of those, yeah. Anyway, I thought that was kind of funny.
Anywho, so that's why this kind of stuff sort of stood out to me. So what happens is when you do something, the ceiling is shorter there because it's a bay window area, and because you're adding all these extra lines and pointing out the fact that the ceiling is so much lower there by putting darker and things that stand out from the wall color. And then, was there a reason for the curtains not going all the way down?
No, just I've never had curtains before. It's always been blind.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's always been in a condo in a loft, so it's always been blinds. Ordered them online. I thought I'd have to shorten because it's a smaller base. So yeah, I just assumed they'd be floor to ceiling curtains like you get when you get curtains, but nope. I learned that. Having said that, it doesn't really bother me that much because it goes, at least it extends past the frame.
Yes, they could pass as not a mistake because they do go to the bottom of your apron on the trim.
I'm seeing a little bit of a theme, like you seem to like skulls and stuff and cool things like that, correct? I like it.
I do. Actually, the friend of mine who I bought the ashtray from made those for me as a housewarming.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
So don't criticize.
No. Very like skull. Very like skull.
I do, yeah. I have a skull fixation. I love skulls and art that features skulls in it.
I really like the artwork, though. Speaking of all that, it's very cool.
And we love that it's huge, like it's really big. You're taking up a lot of space, which is really good.
Yeah, I bought the big pieces obviously when I lived in a condo that had like 11 feet ceiling, so I was worried going in that it would fit. But yeah, I really like the way it works. I mean, it takes up the entire wall, but I don't think it looks, too big.
No, I like it.
No, not at all. Like, especially you kept the whole space very neutral, and then these cool, big, large, colorful pieces of art are just like a little nipple twist, to the space that add this.
Yeah.
It's very cool. It's good.
95% of the reason I decided to just paint everything white was because I knew I'd have to deal with these massive pieces.
Yeah,
of
and this way, like, you can put anything on your walls, and they don't have to work with each other, but somehow they all just work in the room.
Well, with art though, and it should never try to match your art with anything. Like, you don't want to be like, oh, okay, well, this art has that color blue in here, so I better make sure I have a blue pillow and I have a blue vase. Like, you don't want to do that, because now your art isn't the key. Your art isn't standing out now, especially if you have cool art and real art that you want to show off. And this is a map of what? Of who? Where?
It's like a 3D printed map of Hamilton.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So it's got like 2 or 3 different layers of like plywood. So.
And is that little red dot where you are?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no way. That's awesome.
Cool.
That's really cool.
Right on the edge of the escarpment.
Now everybody knows where you live. Yeah, see, there's a skull there. I like these. These are like the Day of the Dead skulls. Or Day of the Dead? Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's kind of what started my whole skull fascination.
Dude.
It's definitely.
What is that? What is that?
Me and a couple friends rented a cottage for New Year's one year, and we decided to bring onesie pajamas and have a little photo shoot. And I made them these little, on the back it says "Live, Laugh, Love."
Oh,
And
my kryptonite. I love that giant piece there of that water tower. Is that a specific water tower from somewhere?
Yeah, it's a water tower somewhere in Brooklyn. It was actually painted by the same guy who did the other big guy named Bruni. He used to live in Toronto.
Nice.
Oh, that name sounds really familiar, but Facebook familiar. Okay, and then now you've got this other piece next to it.
That I actually just got that recently. That's it's an infographic of kind of representing the lyrics of the song Space Oddity.
David Bowie.
Yeah, it starts kind of the top right on maybe like 2 o'clock, and then it's just, it's all these little icons representing all the lyrics. If you follow it
all the way around, it's very
neat.
cool.
That is
Wow.
cool.
That's a really neat idea.
The artist did that. She did, I think, about 10 of them.
Right.
So like 10 different interpretations of the song. This one was an infographic. Bizarre what she came up with, but this was my favorite.
And I like the guitar amp underneath too. Now you play the guitar?
I do? Yeah.
Are you good?
No. I'm okay.
I like it because it looks like a console.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I love the styling of that amp. It also great, but yeah, I love the way it looks, so I've always kind of kept it in my living room.
One thing I would say here that would really look very cool is if you took this piece of art here, right, the David Bowie, and lifted it up so it was at the same height as this guy, and then you put 2 smaller pieces underneath that line up with this piece that's above it, the David Bowie piece, with a little bit of a space in between, and center it all under this amp. And what you end up doing is you're creating this great big square that's filling your whole space, but they're all sort of lined up with each other and filling the space with cool art and cool imagery. Make sense?
Yeah, for sure. I'm slowly running out of room to put things, but I do like to kind of pick little things up here and there. So as I do, I change things around. Well, that's actually a good option to make more room.
That gives you more room for stuff. Yeah.
So this is your iPad charging?
Yeah, that's why the amp is a little off center from the painting above. That's kind of a pain in my butt. The fact that plug sticks out.
Now, you don't have to plug this in right here though, right?
Well, if I want to enjoy it while it's charging and I'm sitting in my favorite spot on that side of the couch.
That's a good point.
Then that
Yeah.
helps.
Okay. One thing that we've used before that could help with this, or you can move this over, these guys. So, see, look at, there's a little video.
Huh.
Right? So it's a really flat, right? It fills up one of those outlets, but it's got an extension cord on the end of it that actually gives you even more than 2. Some of them have even 4. Some of them have 2 extension cords on them, so you can actually split and go in 2 different directions. Like, let's say this outlet is right behind your bed and you want a lamp on either side, but your bed is pushing up against it, which you can't do because the plugs are bending. You put this in, one cord goes that way, one cord goes that way. Plug your lamps in. So that there, if you put that there, you can shove the amp over a little bit, plug your thingamajigger into it, and move your art around, and you make a nice uniformed art wall. I think it'll look really cool. Oh, there's another skull. Oh, well, I like that. I like the scale there too. That's really cool. And the exposed brick wall. Yeah, what's the story about the brick wall? It's cold.
That's something we found when we realized we had to tear down all the walls. And it's basically just a little steel chimney from the furnace.
I like that it's only that little portion, not an entire exposed brick wall. I think it's cooler like this.
Yeah, and the scale's perfect in front of it.
The scale's probably older than the house.
Wow.
But...
Okay, very nice, very nice. Good job, Mark. The bathroom. So this looks like a very typical bathroom, that way it would have looked back then. This is probably exactly what it looked like when they first moved in 1948. We've already seen this, so we know, like, you really went to town on this part, right?
I did.
Yeah, you changed the whole, that bathroom is like nothing you would have in a house that size. So your new bathroom.
No, not at all. And if the engineer hadn't required that I put, so if you see those black circles or black squares, there's like 3 of them.
Yep.
One there, one there, one there.
Those are the new posts that had to go in so that I could take down the wall between the kitchen and the living room. If I hadn't had to do that, like, I wouldn't have moved that hallway over. I wouldn't have done a lot of what you're seeing. So that kind of gave me the opportunity to extend the bathroom. I did make a conscious decision to get rid of all the closets and all the rooms.
That's a bold move.
And that's the second thing that gave me all that space in the bathroom.
This bathroom this was the door to go into the bathroom. That was the bathtub.
Yep.
Now you blew it all out, and now we get this, which is awesome.
We love the curbless shower.
Oh, it's so easy to stumble in the morning.
How wide is it? Like window to glass?
I believe it's 5 feet.
Really?
Wow.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Wow. Anytime we've ever recommended these curbless showers, the first thing is always, oh my God, but the water's going to splash everywhere. Does that happen to you?
The only time I get any water coming past that part is when I'm actually washing the walls.
Right.
But I just wipe it off right away, and that's fine. Otherwise, like, just showering, no, it never gets that far.
Yeah. Now, one thing, some video I was watching recently about these kind of really large showers, or even the showers where there isn't even any glass. I love those too, like the very open wet rooms. When you have doors and glass, or even a shower curtain, it's holding in all that heat from the water and keeping you warm when it's cold. But it's just standing here buck naked in this great big 7 foot by 5 foot shower. Is it freezing in there when you're showering?
Not at all. Like I said, well, it's all brand new windows, all brand new insulation, HVAC.
That's good then. That's good to know. I love this dark grout with the white tile and the mosaic tile on the floor. That's very retro, very cool to go with the house, the age of the house, right? So your toilet paper holder.
Yeah.
Is that a struggle to get at when you need it?
Not really. I mean, it's not as convenient as it can be. Well, in this bathroom, that was the most convenient place to put it. Across from the toilet wouldn't have been an option, obviously. Drilling it into the cabinet would have made it too close. Like, your elbow would be rubbing up against it when you're sitting on the toilet. So yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of, that's why it's up so high, because I can kind of reach it like that. And then I take over. And there's a whole procedure. It works.
Hey, if it works, then F it. It works.
But yeah, it is. It is a very unusual place to put.
And you have a Tushy.
I do.
You like your Tushy?
I love my Tushy.
Oh my God, that sounded terrible. Now, you obviously have an issue with power and plugging, that you need to plug. Everybody always needs to plug stuff in their bathroom. If you can get this stuff off of here, that would be amazing. And a way to do that, remember that extension cord we were just talking about with the flat piece that covers the outlet. You put the little pieces of cord control going down, and then bring it under the vanity, and maybe even up behind the drawers if there's room, so it's not down at the floor. And then you can open these drawers, put all this stuff in there, and you can plug it in inside the drawers, and then it's out of eye line.
We need to talk about that light. So my thing about this light fixture, a lovely light fixture as it is, you have a lot of the same light fixtures all throughout the house. The light fixture over your island, the light fixtures in your ceiling throughout, the kitchen light, the hall light, the front entrance light, the lamps beside your TV. I just think you need to switch some or one of them out.
They're lovely. It becomes like it's a set. Like the couch with the love seat with the chair. This is like, here's the sconce with the ceiling mount with the pendant over the island. They all just sort of went together. switch them out. Which ones should he switch, do you think, Stephen?
Well, I mean, there are simpler solutions for the ceiling one. Like you could just do those cool kind of flat round ones, maybe with like a black band on them, and
Actually,
and then
that's what I have in the bedroom.
yeah, so that kind of thing. Maybe just in the kitchen or down the hall, because I think you have 2 lights in the hall, right?
Yeah,
in
there's
the
2.
hall ceiling. It's just it makes the light fixture over the island look less special, because that's supposed to be your decorative light, your chandelier, and because there's so many of them, it kind of loses its specialness. Your other option would be to change the light over the island, but I like the way that looks.
I like that one too. I wouldn't change that.
Yeah.
I would change the others before I change that.
Okay, so one last thing in the bathroom, I would maybe add this picture here. Oh, it's the old bathroom, right?
Yeah,
is it during demo?
During taking down the wallpaper and early stages of demo.
It's very cool. Good idea. But I think you need to make this fill more space. It's a little bit too small for there. And what you can do is you can just keep that same... See, if you look behind me, like I have these frames, but with these really giant mat on it, right? So the picture's still small, but the frame is much bigger. So you don't have to like get this enlarged or anything. Still use that, but get a frame that will fill more of this space.
Might also make the toilet paper holder not look like it's so out there all by itself.
Maybe, yeah.
See, frozen. He's frozen.
Oh, that's what happened.
Hey, sorry about that. I had to switch to my shittier laptop, sorry.
All right, so this is your bedroom, correct? Those borders, eh? I guess these borders weren't a thing in 1948, so I wonder if they maybe did do some work, maybe in the 80s or something.
Oh, they redecorated.
Yeah, I'm thinking they did.
They wouldn't have had all that carpet.
Yeah, all the underpad, the rotted, flaking underpad.
That was like glued to the floor, like I had to scrape it off inch by inch in some spots. It was awful.
And then didn't you just end up ripping out all your floors?
Yeah, so I made all that effort when I thought we were still going to preserve the floors, which we couldn't once I realized I needed these beams, which meant I had to move all the walls, which meant we couldn't keep the floors. So yeah, it was this kind of cascading effect of these posts. I had friends over help me, like spent the whole weekend removing wallpaper.
Really?
And then weeks later, all the walls just came back.
Oh man, are these people still your friends?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
One of them is the one who introduced me to you.
Oh, well, there we go. He's a good guy. He's a nice guy like that. All right, so here's the redo of that bedroom. We'll flip buzz around a little bit. There's another one of those lights, Mark.
Another one of those lights.
Yeah, I guess you haven't necessarily done a lot in here yet, I'm assuming, right? Because it's pretty, which is normal. A lot of people tend to do that. We always tend to worry about the places that people are going to see first and more often, and we all often leave our bedrooms to the very end. And sometimes some people don't even do anything to their bedroom.
No, I definitely want to do more. I didn't want to rush it. But yeah, it was definitely, let's take care of the rest of the house, all the other places that people are going to be walking out of, and then I could bedroom on my own time.
So you wouldn't be offended if I invaded myself onto this and gave you...
No, I invite your feedback in this room especially, for sure.
So here's some stuff that I'm throwing around. Now, I don't know, like you and I have never met, just virtually here, but I kind of get a sense that because of the skull thing and you've got tattoos and the cool art and stuff, that you do have a little bit of an edge to you, I would imagine, or you like things that have a bit of an edge to them. Is that a correct assumption? Okay, good. Because so do I. And that's technically my... I don't want to say claim to fame. A lot of the things that I've done for people and they've let me go bananas on and let me do what is actually inside my head, you can usually look at it, I feel, in my opinion, without sounding like an arrogant asshole, oh, fuck, Terry did that. I feel like I have a look. I'm not saying it's a good look. I think it's a good look, but not everybody thinks it is, and I get that. I'm very much motorcycles, race cars, drag queens, and glitter. All of that combined together. Like, I love all that shit. And I feel like I would love to be able to throw some of that in this bedroom here, okay?
Glitter. We're gonna throw glitter in your bed.
Glitter all over your bed.
And a drag queen. that's
Watching me while I sleep?
yeah, she's gonna stand in the corner.
But she's constantly performing. She's never gonna stop lip syncing.
Yes, yes.
Yas, queen.
She's gonna shablam.
All right, so
Okay, that's not what we're doing.
that's not what we're doing.
No.
I love these. These are a really good
Yeah.
idea, right?
That is a really good idea.
I think it's already starting with that vibe that I was just talking about, where it has this sort of garagey, mechanic-y style to it. Did they have the wheels on them or the casters on them when you got these, or these are an additional thing?
They're an additional. It's like an accessory to this product.
Okay, but it's part of the kit. Like it all comes together.
But it makes it look cool. It's not like you're pushing them around the room. Cool detail.
It's super easy to move if I have to. So.
And it also picks them up a little bit, makes them a bit taller, which is good. All right, I'm not very good at verbalizing what I'm seeing inside my head, right? I can't get this to come out of my mouth through people's ears. They can't understand what I'm trying to explain to them. So I've got this software that I use that helps me to just show you what the hell I'm trying to explain to you. So this is what we're gonna do. I've developed this 3D model for you of your room and the ideas that I personally think would really give you a really cool space to come home to at night and go to bed. Starting with these cabinets that we were just talking about, which I think are very cool, a neat little addition that you could do to them, make them look old and beat up and kind of fucked up and rustic with these stickers, grease and grime and stuff. Growing up, my dad is a race car driver. He's a drag racer and not a RuPaul's drag racer. He's a real drag racer. And my entire life, I was surrounded by race cars. I was at the races all the time. I know all of this stuff. So I am heavily influenced by this stuff. There's a lot of things that I've made, like when I used to sew and make pillows or where they've got racing stripes on them. I've even made curtains with racing stripes. And I love this vibe, this uber masculine vibe. And I think this would look really cool on those cabinets of yours. You need to fill the space up above. It's a bit too open and empty. And a good way to do that is to just some old luggage and stuff. And you can use it as storage. In the wintertime, put your bikinis in there when you don't need them. Fills the space and it's storage for you. And it looks cool. You need to get the TV off of that little stand at the end of your bed because that's going to help give you more room at that end. Mount it on the wall. You watch TV in the bedroom?
I do. It kind of puts me to sleep every night.
I love TV in the bedroom. Put it at a level where you can actually see it when you're in bed. And if you have like a cable box and stuff like that, you can actually, you buy these bracket things, they mount on the wall behind the TV, and then you just slide that thing in there and you can't see it now. Then you would use that and create again this sort of art wall with art surrounding the TV to help make it disappear on this dark wallpaper as well that I threw in here. So I've taken 3 of the walls, put dark wallpaper on 3 of them. It's got a really cool texture on it. It could be something like this. It could be snakeskin, just not a flat black, something with texture or a little bit of dimension to it. So that helps to hide the TV a bit, makes it disappear. And then you surround it with art. So I moved your Elvis Presley, Andy Warhol up there. Your Village People record is there, right below your Led Zeppelin record. Stop sign, you fill it in. Here's another neon light. Again, my personal thing. I know there's lots of people who I've seen on videos, other people on YouTube that talk about design, hate these neon signs in rooms. I love them. I think they're great. I think it's a specific look for cooler people. Sorry, but...
Well, it's appropriate to your style.
Yes, it's something there that can light up. Then a mirror here, because you can't see yourself. You don't have any mirrors except in the bathroom, I think, right?
I have a mirror, like a full-length mirror in the spare bedroom. But yeah, it would be nice to have one in my actual bedroom where I'm getting dressed.
Put one right there. You can see yourself. Make sure you're looking fancy enough to go outside and let people see you. And I put a floating shelf above here. I don't know if you wear baseball caps or not, but... You know,
well, I don't, but I got stuff I could put up there. I know
it could be anything. Yeah.
Yep, could be anything. When you do art walls like this, you don't want to have only art. If you have to mix in objects as well, it helps to break it up. It helps to give it more dimension as well. Like I personally love a clock in like every room. So here I just threw in like a digital clock that you could throw on the wall, you know, and like this neon sign. So it's not just art. So if you had like trophies or something sitting on it, even though they're maybe not your trophies, it would look cool. Old vintage trophies. Here's where I was talking about the living room, a Roman blind. Do you have a blind in your room now, like a roller blind, like in the living room? Right.
Yeah.
So this wouldn't be a functioning blind then. It would look like one because it would look like it's a blind that's all folded up and that you've pulled it up. but it'll always stay there, and underneath you pull the blind down. And what you'll do is you'll put it just almost up to the ceiling, maybe an inch away from the ceiling, because that makes your window look taller now. I don't have the actual measurements of your window, so I'm not sure exactly where it sits, but if you do put that there, that extends the height now, makes it look taller. And then fill that in with maybe a couple pieces of art, one larger piece here, maybe two smaller ones here that looks all parallel and evenly dispersed. And then your bed. I feel like, it's hard to tell from this picture, but with this headboard, is it pushing quite a bit away from the wall, is it not?
Yeah, probably about maybe 6-7 inches from the bottom. But it's like right up at the top.
Sorry, there was too many "that's what she says" in there. So yes, if you get rid of put the TV on the wall and you change this bed and put a headboard mounted on the wall that sits on top of the mattress, so you can push your mattress right up against the wall now, you're gaining a whole bunch of space now at the end of your bed and more room to walk around, something like that. This is just some kind of like a platform base frame. Push it up against the wall, mount a upholstered headboard on the wall sitting on top of your mattress. You've gained all this space now. There's a ton more room over here for your tiger carpet, which I love too, which, by the way, where'd you get that?
A friend of mine got it in Thailand and just decided one day he was tired of it and offered it to me, and I said, okay.
I think it's really cool. It looks very much like a Jonathan Adler carpet, like something Jonathan Adler would make. Have you ever seen any of his stuff?
No, it doesn't ring a bell, no.
He makes stuff like this. In fact, I thought it probably was a Jonathan Adler carpet. So once you can change your bed out like that, we've gained all this space. The other thing that bugs me about that is your air vent way up there, just sort of in the middle of nowhere. Get a black one if you can that fits there, that is already black, and if you can't, then paint it, but make painting it your last choice. It's better to have one that already actually is black. And again, we're filling the space in with art and objects, including the headboard. All of this space is all being filled in. And then I mounted a light to the wall. You know, if you got something that was on an arm that could move over and you could have light shining down on there instead of just a ball in the corner, just giving general light. And
it saves up your nightstand because your nightstand is so small.
I was going to say, because it looks like it's super shallow and you can't even reach anything on your nightstand without leaning all the way back like the toilet paper. But I think that's part of this. Like once the headboard was gone and your bed was pushed against the wall, you're going to see more of the nightstand now. I thought this would be kind of a cool little thing, maybe on the other side of the bed as just another surface. But I don't think you have enough.
Like if you could get something really tiny there, but
something that it's not a table. It's not supposed to be. That's why I like the thing of the little drummer stand, the drum stool. It's not supposed to be a nightstand, but it's a cool little place to just sort of throw your phone down or whatever, or the condom wrapper.
No overnight guests because they don't have anywhere to put their glass with their teeth in it or anything.
Well, maybe that's by design. I don't like when they sleep over.
There you go. See?
Sorry, no, I don't
Get
I don't have a table for you to put any of your stuff on. You'll have to leave. So it's given you a ton more room. You can go out and get more art, collect more.
No, I really, like I said, I purposely haven't done much because I haven't really had any good ideas, but this is giving me all kinds of them. So this is great.
And do you like the dark room?
I do. I've never been afraid of dark walls. They're dark. I know a lot of people are like, ooh, you don't want to paint it too dark. It'll make it look small. And it's like,
not true.
It makes the corners disappear.
I love that.
Yeah, and I left this wall white because these are black. I just like the contrast of that. Mark, I mean, there's, our 2 cents. There's what we think. There's just little bits of advice. I think, honestly, you did a really good job, and I think that you should be really happy and proud of what you did, especially from what it came from and how much work you put into it.
But yeah, it was the stuff like buying all the outlets and the outlet covers and like all the little things that you don't think of and having to think about, okay, well, where's that going to go and how many do I need? Like, yeah, that was...
And where am I going to get the money from? Because your budget just keeps going up and up and up, right? Well, Again, you should be super proud. You did a great job. It looks awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And if you do, whatever, any of the advice that we had just said or given you, if you do follow through on any of it, make any major changes, if you change your bedroom to do any of these sort of things, we would love to revisit it and have a look if you're willing. Let us know.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, Mark, thank you very much for allowing us into your home.
My pleasure, guys. Great to meet you.